the thing I've realized is that having a secret isolates you from everybody. It means you can never truly be known by somebody, and there's always this barrier between you. You feel as if you're fooling people, and that doesn't feel good. I'm Acadia Einstein, and this is Strangeful Things.
Sheltering in place is not advised, as your survival cannot be ensured in that scenario.
Love has practically caused me to just get you destroyed.
Unsolved, unresolved, and super complicated.
Strangeful Things.
Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Strangeful Things. I'm Acadia Einstein, and I'm here with Shuey.
Hi.
Hi. That's Shuey.
Hello.
We get the sign off kind of nailed, but the intro part, we've got time.
We're working on it. It's
Nothing
a work in
but time.
progress.
That's right.
It's a work in progress.
And I'm trying to do better about this. So if you downloaded this because you were interested in the topic and you don't know who we are, and you have personal stakes in what we're going to talk about, and you're going to be mad if there are jokes made, you should go.
Yeah, you should listen to something else.
Because we try to bring people facts and interesting things that they would not ordinarily know, but we do it in a fun way, even if it's murders.
Yeah,
but
a very fun, immature way.
That's right. Well, yeah, true. All right, so
we're mature, but
yeah. But before we get into the story, we got to do new and good. And I think I'm going to give you a break, Chewy. I'm going to do new and good first.
All right. Do it.
My new and good is that I made a thing. I created it. Well, I made Chewy's Christmas present. Is what it was.
Oh.
And was it just me taking artwork that somebody else made and putting it on a blank of a thing that I bought? Yes, but I assembled it.
That's right.
I bought the fucking company bought the sublimation printer to make it. And I figured out how to do it. And I have a fucking heat press. Anyway, it came out really nicely. And our other two buddies in our DBD squad, theirs came out all fucked up because my nozzles were clogged.
Because they're not me.
Right. But now I can do them right. I just need to get more. Anyway, the point is, I made a thing, came out good. And
yes.
And I have to point out one other thing. And it's super important. We have a sponsor this week.
Well, then definitely point it out. Oh, we do.
Yep.
Walmart, Disney company.
It is not those things at all. Our sponsor is the Horror Scholar.
Oh.
Yep. The Horror Scholar is a marvelous lady who creates an actual journal, like a horror journal, but it's like scholarly. Like it's a real thing. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I've known her for a few years because of the horror community. I saw her post up that she was doing the new episode and she was going to take advertising, so I put ads for us and Castle Rock in there, and so our ads are in there, but the thing is free, and if you want to get to it, go to twitter.com/scholarhorror. That's the person, so she'll get you there, because the link to the PDF is some long ass fucking. Like the show would be 2 hours long if I read the link. So just
capital A, lowercase e.
Yeah. Scholar Horror. Go there, and you'll get some neat
thank
stuff.
Thank you for sponsoring us.
Yes, this fourth volume of it is focused on the haunting of Hill House, and it has like legit scholarly articles. So it's good stuff.
Very cool.
All right, so now what's your new and good? Because I took up a lot of new and good time.
You did. All right, I got two things. One's new and sucky, and that's that my kid went back to school yesterday, so it's just me and the missus again. So, woo. I'm just kidding, but yeah, it sucks when the kids go back because I miss them, even though they're not kids. And then
they're grown ass people.
They are. My good, that's not really new, is I actually today finished watching Supernatural.
Wow.
So all 15 seasons, finished the last few episodes today. So I have actually watched the entire program. So I'm pretty proud of myself on that.
Well, how are we gonna parlay that into some profits? Like,
we're at least as good looking as those guys.
I've never seen an episode of the show, and even I know they're handsome. Because
it's on the CW.
Yep. Well, also
everybody on the CW is gorgeous.
Before they took the porn away, I used to go to Tumblr all the time. And they were often on it.
I bet.
Fucking Yahoo. Jesus Christ. How dumb.
These big companies ruin everything.
Yeah, but how dumb do you have to be Yahoo and just be dumb over and over and over again?
Well, that was a new CEO that made that move,
yeah,
and then she failed miserably like everybody else.
It's like when they interview somebody to be the CEO of Yahoo, like the first question they ask is, there's a dog behind a fence, and the sign on the fence says, "Do not pet, dog will bite and has rabies. What do you do?" And if they don't answer, "Can I pet that dog?" then they don't get the job.
I like dogs. I pet them.
Fucking idiots. All right.
Pet them right on the snap.
So if you've been listening to the show all along, that means you listened last week. And then if you listened last week, that means that you heard my bold / absurd claim that I wasn't going to do a fucking depressing story.
Yeah, you did make that. I almost edited that out of the episode to take away
so that we wouldn't get sued
having to do it. Well, so nobody'd call you out.
Well, so
I was like, let's see if he can do it.
So it's happy for us. We'll be happy. But it's not like there's some topics that are out there that I won't do. I'll never ever do them because
really,
yes, 100%, 100%, because there's no. I don't know how you compare one murder to another, but I don't know why. They're just so terrible that
right.
Saying them again is bad for the fucking universe. I don't know.
Right.
But this is not one of those. This is not one of those. This is a story about a Canadian child.
Canadian, eh?
Yep. Now, she grew up to be a Canadian woman, so already, she didn't get murdered. So, happy so far.
Wow. And she had health care.
Yes. Number of aliens that she was fucked by, 0. Well,
0 aliens.
I mean, I guess I can't say that because she may have not told anybody, but I'm pretty sure She's a journalist now, so probably she would have mentioned
all
it.
right.
She was born in 1965 and lived in Vancouver, Western Canada.
Lovely city.
Yeah. And so typical,
That's
you
where
know,
that's where New York is according to TV.
yes.
That's where
Very
like
true.
every New York show other than Law and Order is filmed there.
And that's also where they shot like all of the X-Files.
Yep, X-Files.
So
Show we watched, Psych, was there.
oh, Psych. What a non-threatening show. All right, stop getting me off topic. Listen,
I love that show.
Pauline, born in
Yeah.
1965, she's a Gen Xer, so we have to care about her more than we would
Yeah, definitely.
other people.
Yeah, like a boomer.
And you know what? This is episode 20 of season 6. Think about that, people. No, 21. This is episode 21 of
Are
season
you sure? Because we didn't even know which season it was.
Yeah,
Like,
no, but I counted, and now I know. And there's only 23 episodes in a season. So we're going to be in lucky number 7 pretty soon there, Jack.
hot diggity.
And I
That's
think,
when most shows hit their stride.
just like the season where I tried to make all of my stories back when we revolved, all my stories happened in California, I think I'm going to try and find Gen X stories to tell.
Ooh. Nice.
Well, I'm going to try anyway. I'm not committing to that. But anyway, Pauline lived in Vancouver. She had a mother and a father. Her mother's name was Ruth, and her father's name was Warren. And she had a little brother. It doesn't matter what his name is. Now, Warren had a little bit of a drinking problem.
Why is it a problem, man?
Well, it's the violent drunk portion of our program that sort of made it not so great. So that's not the best.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but in 1970,
right,
her parents got separated because Ruth was like, "Listen, I'm not going to be fucking married to the Canadian Andy Capp and get fucking tuned up all the time by this bastard." So she left them. And they moved into another place on the other side of Vancouver. And after that happened, Pauline noticed that her mom started acting anxious. Now, all this information, everything you're going to find out about this case, if you follow up afterwards, this woman, Pauline Dakin, she wrote a book called Run, Hide, Repeat that's going to tell the whole story. So the gist of it is going to be what I tell you, but obviously if you read the entire book, you're going to get a lot more details, and if that kind of stuff interests you. So
right. But you won't get the hilarious jokes that we have.
Yeah, you're not going to get that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, no, never mind. I can't go off topic. All right, focus. So when she was 9, so this would have been 74?
75, 74.
Yeah, 74, 75. Her mom says, "Listen, we're gonna go on a vacation, kids, to Winnipeg."
Ooh.
Now, that's far. But I mean, it's vacation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's like in the middle of the country-ish, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure.
Like east-west wise.
Yeah, it's Winnipeg is in Manitoba, which is like the middle province, like the super middle of it. And it's on a lake, so I guess there's reason.
That's nice.
I guess the point of it is that even though it's really, really far away,
right?
As in, if you drove, it would take you 26 hours.
Okay.
There's stuff to do in Winnipeg. Like, it's not It's not like going, hey kids, we're gonna go on vacation to Dayton, Ohio. but we live in Georgia. We could just go to Florida. Nope.
I'm going to Dayton.
Now, I did like the fact that apparently there's a zoo in Winnipeg that's a big deal. And I thought its name was Ass in Bone, but it's actually Assiniboine. But I'm just going to say Ass and Bone. But Winnipeg can't be that much of a big thing, because if the third fucking thing on your if you're the tourist board of a city and the first thing you have is a zoo, then you can be like, okay, well, San Diego would lead with the zoo.
Yeah, San Diego, right.
The second thing is the Mint. And the third thing is the Winnipeg Art Gallery. Now, that's a drop off right there, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, because I got to assume that there's more than one art gallery. Now, I'm not disparaging the good people of Winnipeg. I'm just saying, I don't know why that would be your
still
vacation
sounds
spot.
better than Charlotte, right?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I told you, I looked up the top 10 things to go on a romantic date, and the fucking number one was the Billy Graham Library.
Jesus.
The NASCAR Hall of Fame was on the top 10 list. The Hendrick Motorsports.
I cannot imagine why the Billy Graham Library would be the number one thing on any list.
Romantic spot.
Unless you had a blog of, I swear to God, I fingered somebody in these places. Which, number one, would be a great blog. Like,
that would be a pretty good blog.
It doesn't have to be to like completion. Just, 10 consecutive seconds of fingering in St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City.
Oh, what are we, those idiots? Who are those idiots that got fired? Opie and Anthony had the couple bang in St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yeah, see, that's it. They're just crude. Also, I don't like them for personal reasons, and I hate Jim Norton. Jim Norton, if you're listening to this and you're not, I'll knock you the fuck out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's a prick. Little self-important, little fucking weird fetus-looking bastard. All right, so they get in the van and they go to Winnipeg, the family.
Right.
And they're like, wow, you rented a vacation house in Winnipeg, which is also weird. Maybe it was near the Mint. But then the mother goes, I got to tell you, we actually live in Winnipeg now, and this is the house that we live in, so we're not going back to Vancouver.
Oh.
And the kids were like, what? What do you mean? Dad's back there. And she's like, yeah, don't worry about that.
That guy.
We're Winnipegians now. We're staying right here in Winnipeg. So they're like,
wow.
We want to see Dad. And
we hated being near the ocean and our father.
But here's the thing. And if you were in Vancouver and you really want to go on a vacation, go to Victoria, British Columbia. You'll be scared as shit getting there because of the crazy fucking little plane you have to take, but God, it's gorgeous. Anyway, the mother said, I'm sorry, but this is how it has to be, and I will explain it when you're old enough. So the oldest one is 9. The little brother is probably 7. I don't know, whatever. And the mother says, no, we have to live here, and I'll explain it when you're old enough, which you aren't now. So fuck off.
Right. Just suck it up.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, well, I guess we live in Winnipeg now. And they were there for 4 years.
Let's go to a Jets game.
Yep. Winnipeg Jets. So they lost touch with their father because they had no contact with him whatsoever at all.
Right.
But they were like, they're kids. They're freaking kids adapt. you do what you can. And they made friends, and they were like, oh yeah, you know, we live in Winnipeg now, and they're like, this isn't bad, this is okay. They're getting along fine in Winnipeg. They were there for 4 years, I guess, give or take. And then the mother was like, kids, we're gonna move.
What, again? Did they even get to a Blue Bombers game?
It was 4 years. It was 4 years, and the third thing on the list was a fucking art gallery. So, yes, I'm very sure. And back then, there was probably less stuff. So, yes. So, this time, they were going to New Brunswick. Now, you're in my neck of the fucking woods.
New Jersey?
No. New Brunswick, which is...
There's one of those in New Jersey.
It's own... It's one of the maritime provinces. It's the...
Oh, one of those.
It's the part of Canada that nobody really wants.
Right.
It's like... So there's Maine, and Maine is the only state that only borders one other state. Well, the same with New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, like the way they're set up. And honestly, you know, Canada did better with we're just going to make big semi-rectangles of our provinces, so don't fuck around with it. But Nova Scotia is like way the fuck out there, and New Brunswick is not much better. It's on the eastern end. And because it's on the other side of Quebec, and Quebec speaks French, they're like even more isolated than they would be otherwise.
Oh, because they speak English?
Because they speak English.
I'm hearing her tail. His tail.
Because he's a big fucking idiot. So they go to New Brunswick.
Okay.
Well, before they go, the mother says you can't fucking tell anybody that we're moving. At all. Like, shut up. Because they were a little older now. You know what I mean? Like, they would have been like 13.
Now they're like 13
young
and
teenagers.
something. Yeah.
The mother says, don't fucking tell anybody that we're moving to New Brunswick. Even though you just spent all this time making all these friends and everything like that. But Pauline was with her friend, and she was like, yeah, I'm moving to New Brunswick. And her friend was like, come on.
New Brunswick sucks.
New Brunswick's the worst. And there was no internet then, so I'd have to write a letter, and that would take a long time with very little payoff. And so they ended up having to pretend, like when the mother went to pick Pauline up from the friend's house, they had to pretend that they weren't ever going to see each other again because they couldn't let the mother know that she knew that they were moving.
Right.
Which seemed like, I mean, obviously that's a thing that would stick with you as a kid. You know what I mean? But remember, this is an uplifting, this is a happy story. Happy. So far, they're touring Canada. And if you don't think it's happy to go around Canada, then you're anti-Canada, and I'm not having it.
That's right. That's where most of our good actors come from these days.
That's right. They're in Britain. So
yeah,
they stayed in New Brunswick for a good long while. But this whole thing about the mother being super nervous all the fucking time didn't go away. And some weird shit happened. Not gonna lie. It was weird.
Like what kind of weird shit?
So sometimes the mother would come to school and tell the kids, we're going bowling. Just take them out of school. Then they would go to the bowling. Yeah.
And
that's all they did. They would go bowling, and then they would go home, and then the next day they would go to school.
Huh.
One time, they came home And this actually happened a couple times, but I'll just say all these things like they happened one time because saying the same thing twice is stupid. The mother was throwing all the fucking food away in the house. When they got home and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing with my all dressed chips, Ma?" And she's like, "Yeah, no, it's spoiled." And the kids are like, "Mustard doesn't fucking spoil."
Yeah.
But she threw it away anyway. One time, she made them all take plastic bags and put them over their feet in the house. That's not normal behavior.
That's not regular,
Although, I suppose that if you were the kind of person that would like put plastic over your furniture, it would make more sense to put plastic over the people.
Well, then you got to be changing the plastic all the time. If you do it on the furniture, it's once and
Yeah,
done.
but that's the people's problem, not yours. You can say, well, there's shoes off houses where you got to take your shoes off when you go in. Boy, what a fucking stressful thing that is. I'm going to somebody's house I don't know. I better fucking make sure that I put on good socks because...
Good socks without a hole in them. And,
right. Fuck.
Yeah, nobody needs that.
So...
If I had any friends like that, I would just have to break off the friendship.
Yep.
Show up with no socks on. Let them see my bare
that's
feet,
why my thing.
And then
if
they
I
would
just
never, ever want to see me again.
But if I gave you those little fucking plastic booties to put over your shoes... then everyone
like
wins.
we're at a crime scene. Yeah.
So their childhood was a little unorthodox.
Yeah, a little weird.
And her mother was always nervous. She's just a nervous lady. So now that's like a little taste of what happened during their life. But it wasn't like, the fucking father would find his way over there like that Julia Roberts movie and be all drunk and start
sleeping with the enemy.
Start punching the shit out of him or anything like that. They didn't have. They had their lives. They're like, oh well, we do stuff. Sure, maybe we have to go bowling sometimes in the middle of school, but whatever.
During the day.
And Ma always seems super nervous, and we don't know why.
Yeah.
But we're going to jump ahead because the rest of the childhood was just variations on this theme. Nervous mother, always paranoid, doing some shit that would be considered unorthodox, like throwing away all the food, taking the kids random places at random times, having them do fun activities, but activities that were not appropriate for when they were supposed to be in school.
Right. Well, they doing that because, if somebody was looking for them, they would look for them after school. They'd do it during the day, and then nobody thinks to...
That's a very poignant question you asked there, Shuey. Because what would explain something like that?
Right.
Because it wasn't like the mom was...
She's a reverse vampire.
Yes, but no. Fucking spoilers. Spoilers. The mother was so usually if you saw behavior like that, you would also there would be other stuff. If you thought that there was something wrong, I'm trying to think of the many fucking terrible mental illnesses we have covered over the course of this show. None of them are this, because she wasn't doing other weird shit. You know what I mean? She just went to work and made money and paid the phone bill and all normal shit.
Yeah.
She was just always super nervous. So in 1988, Pauline was 23 and she had moved out of the house. She was living with her boyfriend in New Brunswick.
Okay.
And she got a job as a reporter at a local newspaper. And her mother called and said, listen, I want to meet you in a motel because we are gonna fuck. No, That last part was a lie. She said, but she did say, I want to meet you at a motel because I can tell you why
What
your
the deal
childhood
is.
was the way it
Yeah.
was. So she's like, well, this is great fucking news. I'm going to go to the motel. I don't even care if she does
Right.
fuck me. I want this information.
I need this scoop.
Yep. So when she gets there, her mother's outside, like in the parking lot,
Right.
walking up and down, probably smoking a bunch of cigarettes, but they didn't say that, but it was 1988, so it's pretty much a given.
It was 88. Yeah.
All fucking nervous. She comes up and she's like about to go, oh, Ma, blah, 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 blah. And her mother looks at her and puts her finger up to her fucking lips, saying, shh. And she puts an envelope in Pauline's hand. And like basically does the, the finger under the neck, like shush, like don't fucking say anything.
Yeah.
On the envelope, it says, don't say anything. Put your jewelry in this envelope. I'll explain everything inside. Just don't speak. So now Pauline's all fucked up. Because her mother is very distraught about the whole thing. So she does it. She takes the jewelry
weird
off.
at all.
Yeah, right? Takes the jewelry off. Now, and honestly, so I'm about to tell you what the fucking point of all this was, and then you and I can realize. All right, I'll wait. I'll get.
All right. Let's go.
She takes the jewelry off, puts it in the envelope, gives it to her mother. They go into the motel room, not saying anything, and there's a guy in the room.
Okay.
And he fucks her. No. This is a
And they have a
non-fuck
threesome.
This is a non-fucked story. So
all right.
just forget it. Even though I keep trying to slip it in there, it's not that kind of story.
Trying to make it part of the story.
But she knew the guy.
Really?
He was the reverend of the church that they went to when they lived in Vancouver when she was little.
Really?
Like, yes. His name was Stan Sears. And the reason that she knew him, because why would a little fucking kid recognize...
Like, remember. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because her mother worked for him. She was his secretary. That was her job while they were there.
Right.
And she knew that they were friends and that they had stayed close and he had always been nice to her and everything like that. And like, she's like, well, that makes sense because he had visited when they were in Vancouver. I mean, because she worked for him, but
they were in Winnipeg.
They saw him in Winnipeg. They saw him in New Brunswick and everything like that. So she wasn't super surprised about it.
Right.
But her mother says, all right, well, so first of all, I fell in love with Stan when I worked for him, and we had been having an affair all the way back from when we were in Vancouver. Which, okay, but that doesn't explain. I mean, I get that, like, Pauline's a reporter, but you don't have to be Lois fucking Lane to realize, well, that's not really a reason to make
that doesn't explain everything.
Bowling, right? So
at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekday,
her mother says, I got to tell you something about your father. Your father was in the mafia. He was actually kind of a big shot in the Vancouver mafia.
The Canadian mafia.
Which, yeah, I guess, I mean. And after they got separated, Ruth found out, probably because the drunken idiot called her up and threatened her, that she had a hit out on her because the other mobsters assumed that she knew all about his mobstering ways, and now she was a loose
Right, and
cannon
would end
out
up
there on her
talking.
own.
Yeah.
And Warren was probably too busy getting drunk and fighting like Russell Crowe in order to like explain to the other mobsters that was not the case. But anyway, better safe than sorry. They're going to kill her.
Yeah, might as well be safe. Yeah.
Right. What did it have to do with Stan? Well,
Yeah.
the mob figured out that she was fucking Stan before the husband did. Because the husband had been sleeping on that whole thing. But they were like, well, if she's with this dude, then, you know, he's got to go too. Because they don't fucking care. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah. People aren't really people. They're just.
Yeah, no. It's hello. What's your last name? Obstacle? All right. Well, let me get you out of my way. So Stan actually had another reason why. And this was the part of it when I was reading it. I was like, this kind of seems weird, but as you go on later in the story, you're like, oh, so he was he was the church guy.
Right.
He counseled, remember in The Sopranos, Tony Soprano went to the fucking shrink?
The shrink?
Right?
Yeah.
And if the other mobsters had found out, she would have been dead.
Right.
Well, he was the Stan guy was the psychiatrist. I can't remember, Lorraine Bracco. He was her to this other guy who turned out to be a mobster, but he didn't know that at the time. So in the church counseling group or whatever like that, this guy would come and talk to him, but he just talked to him about, regular shit, not like, I had to fucking wrap a guy up in a rug.
Whack this guy.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. He was just
sometimes
talking about.
I just don't know. Shoot for the head, shoot for the heart.
Exactly. No, he was talking about the same fucking mundane shit that everybody else talks about. I was like, I'm afraid to talk to my friend because I don't want him to think I'm bothering them, but then I think they don't feel like they're worth talking to. So, just kind of stupid ass fucking death spiral shit that just makes everybody a basket case anyway. But anyway, the offshoot of this is the sad guy who reached out to his church pastor, combined with the fact that he was banging Ruth.
Right.
It's a dead man talking to me. Stan was fucking not in a good spot.
Yeah.
And he did not believe it. Stan did. Because he's church guy. He's like, oh, come on. He's the, in the beginning of the fucking horror movie, we're like, oh, that's crazy, blah, blah, blah. But then the guy he was counseling ended up fucking whacked.
Whack-a-dack.
And he was like, well, that's not great.
That's not great for me.
That's
I just lost a customer.
Yeah. They found the Jawas. If they trace the droids here, they may find out where they sold them to, and that would lead them back home. So here's where it all goes wrong.
Uh-oh.
Now, I'm willing to say that the official stance of Strangeful Things is that all cops are bastards. Not for the reason that Morning fucking Joe will tell you. As a matter of fact, you know what? We'll talk about that for the Patreon.
Yeah, that's cool.
So anyway, that does not mean that if you go to the cops saying there are people that want to kill me, that they're going to be like, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have any time for you. Now they may do a shit job of investigating it, but they're not going to not try.
Well, whenever they do that on TV, they're like, well, they haven't really done anything to threaten you, so there's nothing we can do.
Right. They haven't. There's no credible blah, blah, blah.
Nobody's actually taken a shot at you yet, so we got to go to the volunteer fire department and hang out and drink beers.
They'll help anybody. They don't care. So, but they made the decision not to tell the cops,
right?
Because their thought process was it's the mafia. The mafia bribes the cops. If they go to the cops, then the cops are it's just gonna go bad.
Yeah, the cops would know. Yeah, then they would get back to the mafia.
Yeah, because if you saw the fucking Godfather,
because some cop's gonna say something.
Sollozzo's buddy was the fucking police captain, so they were all in on it till Michael fucking fixed his wagon.
And look at Sean Connery's boss in the fucking Untouchables was working for the mob.
So, I mean, I get it, but I also don't get it. So anyway, they said, okay, well, instead of going to the cops or going to the fucking Mounties or whatever the fuck in Canada you can go to, they were like, we'll just live in terror forever. And
that's a way to handle it.
So they
went to Winnipeg. Anybody.
Stan followed them, even though he wasn't around all the time. Like they were just kind of like being together on the side, because I mean, you're still gonna have if you're having a relationship, and it's not an affair. If you already left your husband, it's not an affair. You're in a relationship.
That's not an affair. It's just a relationship.
Yeah. And that explained why Pauline had seen him. And so this is 23-year-old Pauline. She's like, what the fucking fuck? This doesn't
all add up.
This doesn't fucking track. None of this makes any sense. And I kind of am Lois Lane. So she started asking questions. And she brought up all the fucking stuff from their childhood. What was the thing about throwing away the food? Mother was like, they poisoned it. And when I made you wash your feet and put on the plastic bags, it's because they had put poison on the rugs. And I was like, well, how the fuck?
How did she know about that?
How'd they get there? Yeah.
Did they have like a dog that died one day and they were like, oh, must be the rugs.
Damn it. Oh, I have a fucking...
I don't get out of the refrigerator.
Terrible story about our neighbor's dog. But I can't tell it in the middle of the episode because I have integrity. So...
I don't think that's why, but
for hours, I'll tell the dog story on the Patreon too. So, 6 different times Pauline got pulled out of one school and put into another. It was because that they had gotten a credible threat about the kids.
Right.
So Pauline asked all these questions, and she was a journalist. I mean, she was a new journalist, but you know how you try and trip them up, whatever like that?
Yeah.
Fucking rock solid. She's like, holy shit. How the fuck? Number one, how the fuck are we alive? Number two, holy shit. You've had a whole bunch of shit you've had to deal with all this time.
Yeah.
So she was freaked out. She was like super, super shook. And she was like, well, what the fuck? I got to go back home to my boyfriend. What do I do? And they were like, well, we're tired of, you're older now. Your brother's old enough now. We want to go in witness protection. To which I would have said, you mean we could have done that the whole time? Like, why?
Yeah. And at this point, what do they think she's going to talk about? It's been like 10 years.
Right.
Wouldn't she have fucking talked by now?
Yeah, you'd think, right? I never thought about that, but you're right.
Like, don't they have better people to go try to kill than somebody who's been, you've been chasing for fucking 10 years?
Also, not for nothing. If you can get into somebody's house and poison their rug, just wait until they get home and kill them.
Shoot them. Like, it's not like they're not going to find the poison in their system and think, they must have accidentally spilled poison and stepped in it.
Shouldn't have licked your poison rug. So I mean, maybe it's because they were Canadian mobsters and they were, I don't know. Anyway, what they said was they called the witness protection program, and this may be a fucking Canadian thing, I don't know, because I didn't dig too deep in it. They called it the Weird World. And what they said was, it is kind of like what you'd see, like My Blue Heaven, where you're in witness protection and you go somewhere else and your name is Dave now, whatever like that.
But a new name, and
it's also that you have agents like keeping track of you.
Right.
It's like double. So like not only do you go somewhere else and get a new name and whatever like that, but also you've got like cops looking out for you or whatever. Now I'm sure that it's like really they look out for him a lot at the beginning and then they kind of taper off or whatever, but still it was a thing. And Stan actually he's like, look, this is a lot to take in. We want to do it, but it doesn't mean that you have to do it. It may not matter. It may not be the kind of thing that we don't know. We know that there have been threats in the past. We know that there are technically still contracts out on us. Maybe nobody cares, but there's enough evidence from time to time that people do care, that it's serious enough. And on top of that, the authorities believe it's credible enough to let them do it. Because I'm sure, like, if I could fucking go in witness protection, I'd be there in 2 fucking seconds. 2 seconds.
2 seconds, eh?
Like, yeah, I gotta go. Do I still have to pay all my bills? Well, no. You'll be a whole new person. Well, then sign me up. Poof. I'll fucking go everywhere to witness murders. Anyway, I'm just kidding, honey. I love my life and I want to stay in it. And if I was going to go in witness protection, I would want to go with you. So Stan gives Pauline a radio. And he says this radio is connected to the agents that...
Another radio?
Not like a fucking... Not the one at the beginning of our show. It's like a walkie-talkie radio. I took it to be like a walkie-talkie radio. And they said this connects you to the agents that are following you. So if you get in trouble, use it, but don't fucking like chat with them or whatever like that, because you don't want people to, pick up the signal or whatever like that. Like you would, like you go, hey, what are you guys doing? You want a sandwich? Like if somebody gave me a radio that would only talk to the cops in case somebody was trying to murder me, I don't know what I would have to say to them other than help, someone's murdering me. I hope you're close by. I hope these walkie-talkies have very poor range, but you can still hear me. So she takes it and she's like, all right, well, is Dad in jail? And her mother says, no, he's in witness protection. And she's like, what the fuck? What do you mean?
So he went into it, huh?
So she gives Pauline a letter from the father. And it said, basically, and I don't know the particulars of why, but the mob turned on him, blah, blah, blah. Gonna get driven out in a car with cannolis in it and get killed, whatever like that. So he's in witness protection. And he said that hopefully he would be able to see her, which seems like wishful thinking, but yeah, once we're all in witness protection, maybe witness protection is just some town in Canada that we'll all live in. So like,
it's just a whole town of witness protection people.
That would actually be a great fucking movie. Can you imagine? Like, and then somebody finds out where the town is, and then every fucking assassin
mobster shows up.
Shows up, but they can't. They need to get credit for the ones they need to kill. So, but it's so crowded that they can't, and they're like, "Fuck! Like, what do we do? Just blow the whole town?" Like, that would be a fun movie. So, Pauline's like, all right, I got a letter from my father. I got this radio thing, and they just answered every fucking question I could think of, so I'm pretty fucked up. They were like, just tell us, and we'll start the process. But it's a process. So the sooner you decide, the sooner stuff can happen.
Right.
So she gets her jewelry envelope, which, by the way, the jewelry thing bugged,
Yeah.
or theoretically bugged, which is why
Oh,
she took it.
really? So she thought her kid's jewelry was bugged.
Which again, if you, it's the part that if you could get the jewelry and put a bug in it, and you could put fucking rug poison that would kill you if you did it with bare feet, put the poison on the ring, then they die because the ring is on. Like, I don't know how fucking siloed was this assassination machine from this monster. Yeah, no, we're the poison people. We're the bug people.
Yeah, Team Poison.
Yeah, we don't mix. So we don't have a scrum of scrums. That way we don't know what any of the other teams are working on. So Pauline's like, all right, well, fine. I have a lot to think about. Plus, my boyfriend is back at home listening to The Cure.
And I'm looking for him to give me the business.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to get freaking pounded flat tonight because I got a lot on my mind. So I don't know why I'm making this episode so sexy, but whatever.
Very dirty.
So when she starts to drive away, Stan runs up and he's like, oh, fuck, I forgot. And he gives her this. Now, this is 88.
Right.
And he gives her a.
When in 88 is this? What date?
Not. I don't fucking know.
All right.
Like, do I need to know? I can look it up.
No. I was just wondering if we had started school yet.
Oh. I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Whatever. It's not that important. Continue.
The other piece that I forgot to mention is that Stan knew all this stuff. Stan knew this advanced information because he had a connection with the cops that I don't know why the rest of the cops wouldn't just tell him someone's going to come and murder you, but his connection
he
would
needed
tell
a
him.
connection to tell him that.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So he gives her this like metal magnetized disc thing and says, put this under the wheel well of your car and it will help the agents that are tracking you track you. Because technology. Now, I don't know when the GPS satellites got launched, but I am also very, very sure that there could have been some kind of, if it was close by, radio triangulation thing that would have made that possible. Anyway, she's like, okay, well, I'll do this too and whatever. And thanks, Stan. I got to go home.
Yeah.
So she goes home. And she has her little radio. And she has her car transponder thing. But she's also creeped the fuck out because now she knows there are people out there who are like, what am I going to do today? Oh, kill this Pauline bitch. That's a hard thing to swallow.
Right.
And her tax dollars are going to pay 2 cops drinking a lot of Bob Horton's coffee, sitting in a car, talking about nonsense like every other stakeout.
Or Tim Horton.
Tim Horton, yeah.
Tim Horton.
So she's like, I can't fucking handle this. And she broke up with the boyfriend.
Huh.
Which seems unfair.
And they'd been a thing for like
a while.
Like all this time since she left Vancouver, right?
Yeah. No. The boyfriend she met him in New Brunswick when she was like older.
Oh, okay.
Not Stan. This is Pauline broke up. No.
Pauline. Yeah, okay.
Pauline and Stan were tight. I mean, Ruth and Stan were tight. So, but Pauline was like, yeah, whatever. Keep your Cure CDs. I gotta fucking bounce. And she moved out.
I want the Def Leopards.
Yeah. She got an apartment.
Right.
And she's like, I'm all freaked the fuck out. I can't. I want to go to witness protection. I can't deal with it. I want nothing to do with any of this shit. And they were like, all right, well, that's good. But like I said, it's a process. but we're going to let them know, and they're going to contact you when it's time for you to go. In the meantime, keep your radio and your transponder or whatever. She's like, all right. So she waits. She contacts her mother.
So is she like completely vulnerable during this time?
You mean like
nobody's like watching her or anything,
Well, no,
even though they're
no.
not ready to protect her?
She's still getting, she's got the radio thing and she's got the transponder thing. She's just not disappeared so that she has to live in Nunavut up in the Arctic fucking circle.
Right.
So she waits. But it's like 5 years.
It's quite a process.
Years. And in that time, she was like, well, I got to see other people. I can't just sit here rocking back and forth looking at my secret radio. She gets another boyfriend, and the boyfriend is basically like, what? None of this makes any sense. None of it. You know, the whole, maybe another set of eyes on this is going to, make it a little clearer or whatever like that. He just straight up like, you're fucking nuts. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Crazy shit.
That doesn't make any sense. And she's like, no, but I know my mother. My mother's not crazy. Stan's not crazy. There is something because I can't bring you to meet them to have them tell you about it because like that would freak them out because then they might think that you're in on it or I flipped or something like that because they're super paranoid. Right. And he's like, yeah, honestly though, it's still really, it's bullshit. So then he started to convince her. So she decided to do a little plan.
What kind of plan?
Well,
tell me.
She calls up her mother and says, Ma, someone just broke into my apartment and I think it was the mafia.
Uh-oh.
Like, everything is all messed up. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should throw the food away. I don't know if I should put on galoshes. I don't know what the fuck to do. And the mother was like, okay, well, listen. Don't call the cops.
Right.
I'm going to call Stan.
Stan the man.
Like 2 minutes later, like soon, like really fast later, it's the mother. I talked to Stan. He talked to his guys who were sitting outside the house, and they said, yes, the mafia guys broke in, but they stopped them before they could actually do much, and they're in jail now, so you don't have anything to worry about. So Pauline was like, my house has been ransacked, but it wasn't like super ransacked because the guys watching her stopped it before they could fucking poison the soap or whatever they were going to do.
Replace her shampoo with super glue.
And Pauline says, Ma, I made it all up. What do you mean? I've been sitting here in the house all day with my boyfriend. Yeah. I never left the house.
That's why I was confused. All right. Now I'm back on track.
I lied. Nobody broke in. What the fuck is going on?
Right.
And at that point, she realized that the entire fucking thing had been made up.
By Stan.
All the way back to Vancouver.
Wow.
And it's weirder than you even think. Because they went through a lot of discussions about how these people are getting replaced with doubles. If you go to this family reunion, you can't. This person had plastic surgery. It's not who you think it is. And she would be like, well, Uncle Willie has a fucked up toe and he's wearing fucking flip flops and his fucked up toe is there. And like, yeah, well, plastic surgery. Her whole fucking life. Her brother, when he got married, they said that some of the people were doubles.
Oh, Jesus.
Which the evidence they used was the very real evidence that Castro had doubles, Noriega had a double. Like,
yeah,
this shit actually happens.
Yeah,
and it just didn't happen. Like, the fact is, It could have happened. It's just none of it actually did happen. So then you go, well, why? Like the next question is obviously why? Why would this be? There is a thing called delusional disorder. It is not schizophrenia. It is not any of the fucking things that people just like to characterize mental illness as. It takes there's a bunch of different kinds of it. There's erotomanic delusional disorder, where other people think that somebody famous is in love with them. The difference between them and me. Are you
saying that Zoe Saldana doesn't love me?
You know what? She loves you just as much as Charlotte McKinney loves me, buddy. Don't worry about it.
That's a lot.
There's jealous delusional disorder, where nothing you can say anyone can say will make you not think that your partner is cheating on you.
Doing something. Yeah.
There's like, some people think that they're deaf and they're not.
Really?
Yes. It's
the human brain is just a fucking wacky thing.
Fuck you up. And
wacky
one of
thing.
them is
mob.
It's the point of it is, there is one thing that you fucking believe. Everything else about you is completely normal. Like, if you talked to Stan and said, I
can't even imagine that.
If you talk to Stan, is there Bigfoot? No, that's stupid. Aliens? Nope. Ghosts? Nope. Anything that gets talked about on Strangeful Things other than true crime? All bullshit.
But
are you being hunted by the mafia? Well, fucking yes, I am. Look at all my fucking evidence.
Hell yeah.
Give me a lie detector test. Oh, I fucking passed it, because it's not. I'm not making it up. I'm telling you things I know. The fact that my brain is lying to me does not mean I'm lying to you.
Right. It's like when they do that, like in the show, it's like, well, is he telling the truth? Well, he believes he is.
Right. And this is the ultimate kind of manifestation of that. Now,
right.
The double whammy on this one is folie à deux.
Bless you.
And that is when, and it's kind of been flipped around, and it got unclassified, then reclassified, and everything like that. But what it comes down to is, if there's one person in a relationship that feels like they are the lesser in the relationship,
right,
they can fall into the delusion of the stronger one.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so that's what happened to Ruth.
Right. Ruth went along with it because she had a husband who might not have been a mafia guy, but he was a fucking mean drunk. And Stan was nice and kind to her and whatever, and she was getting that good dick.
So it was even made up to the point that the husband wasn't even involved in organized crime.
Husband had nothing to do with it except being a drunk.
Wow.
None of it. And the sad fucking thing, and the reason I say this is a happy story, the reason that I chose this as the happy story when I promised a happy story is this. The kids are fine. They feel badly about what happened to their mother.
Right.
But they weren't getting fucking thrown downstairs or being made to eat hot charcoal briquettes or any of the fucking...
They just had some weird shit going on.
Right. They just...
but none of it was like dangerous or put them at risk or anything. It was just weird.
I mean, sure, maybe people made fun of them because of the bowling trips or whatever like that. But the fact is that they were... The mother loved them. Stan loved them. They were acting on what they believed was 100% true.
Right.
So it was care of a fashion. And as a result of said care, they kind of they couldn't get out of it. Like the fact that it was now known, like that the daughter knew, didn't matter. It did not matter. Because if they were going to the depths of saying, yeah, no, I know that looks exactly like your aunt, but it's not. It's somebody else that had perfect plastic surgery to look like them for kind of no reason, but they believed it.
So who is she talking to with the radios?
She never talked to it. She never used it.
Oh, she never used it.
No, because it was just supposed to be an emergency. And at the time, she was like, well, fuck. Like, I believe them, so I can't use it frivolously.
But it seems like, all right, so Stan believed what he was talking about. Mm-hmm. But he also knew, like, did Stan actually get police involved in stuff like that?
Everything he said was made up, except the thing is, and she says this, and this is it's an article from The Guardian, because she was promoting her book, so she did a bunch of interviews. There's plenty of stuff you can find on YouTube and everything like that. It's really interesting. They asked her about Stan, and she said he was a very compelling guy. He was just so intelligent, but also funny, and he really connected with people. And when he talked to you, he really listened.
Right.
He was as good of a guy as everybody thought he was. She goes on to say, in many ways, Stan was quite brilliant. He had an amazing mind. And the thing of that was, he was so fucking smart that he could make his delusion way more complex, because he could remember the fucking NPCs that he made up in his head and their relationships to each other and everything like that. So when you talked to him, you'd be like, no one can fucking... If this wasn't true, no one would remember that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was like a perfect storm of horrible. Yeah, you know what I mean? And she said, I feel like somebody would look at Stan and say he's the bad guy. But she said, in a lot of ways, he played a really supportive role in my family's life. And I get how ironic that is. My mother was complex. She was smart. I don't want her to be portrayed as some nut job that fell for a guy. And the reason that I say that this is a happy story, Pauline says there's nothing she would change about her childhood. I have a great appreciation for my mom. She caused a lot of chaos, but she really did believe she was protecting us.
Right.
She was gullible, but in many ways, she was really, really wise. I'm happy, and I have my kids. It took me a while to get to this point,
Right.
But because for a long time she obviously blamed her mother, but a lot of therapy worked on that, and
Yeah.
Ruth and Stan they could not shake it. They believed it even after being confronted with all the fucking facts about how it was not true, etc.
Right.
They would just fill in how it was. And
but I just don't understand. Like, if like Stan knew that he wasn't calling police asking what happened that day, so at some level he knew that what he was doing was false. He had to, right?
If your brain can make you think that all these other fictitious people are doing stuff, why can't it make you think that you did stuff? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's so Pauline finally reached an agreement with her mother. I want you in my life. Don't tell me the mob is after me. We're just not going to talk about it.
Right.
We're just not going to talk about it. And the only time it came up again was just before her mother died. And she said, "Oh,
she
Pauline,
was killed by the mob,
by a fucking mafia agent who was very late." She said to her daughter, "Oh, Pauline, if you think I'm crazy for believing this, how you must have hated me."
Aw.
But she didn't say it from the "I'm sorry because I was making it all up."
Yeah.
She was saying, "I'm sorry that you hated me because you thought I was making it up, even though I wasn't."
Yeah. One of those.
Like it never,
one of
ever,
those non-apology apologies.
Right. It was it. But she was acknowledging the fact that, oh man, if you didn't realize all this shit was true, then I sucked as a mother. You know what I mean? But
I'm sorry if what I did upset you.
Exactly. So Pauline is, you can find out. Pauline will talk to anybody. Fuck, Pauline probably talked to us. Now let's not go crazy.
Yeah.
But the book is Run, Hide, Repeat. The story is really compelling because, I mean, it's a great story because you're like, holy shit, what's happened to these people? And then it's almost weird. It would be easier to believe that it was true.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's got plutonium in her ass.
After like 10 or 15 years. Like,
I mean, it was years.
It was 14 years, right? When
more than that, because she was 28.
She was 23. Oh, she was 28.
She was 28 when it finally, when she finally was like, enough.
Yeah, so like 19
and did
years.
the sting. So yeah, no, this was a long time, and there was no malice in any of it. It wasn't abusive.
No,
they believed it.
They actually believed it.
Yeah, and they could have believed a bunch of other weird, way worse shit, like you've got a fucking listening device in your eyeball and I've got to get it right away. Like there's a bunch of ways that this could have fucking gone super wrong. And it didn't go great, but at the end of the day, and this is the other piece. So you care about the kids, obviously. You're going to care about the kids. Kids turned out fine. I can't feel badly for for Stan and Ruth, because they didn't fucking know.
Together?
Huh?
Did they end up together?
Oh, like, they were together. Yeah, they were 100% together. But the other piece of it is, how can you feel bad for them if they believe it? Like, you would only feel bad for them if you made them realize they had wasted all of these years of their lives running from people who didn't exist.
Who weren't chasing them, yeah.
But if they still believed it, holy fuck, what a kick-ass relationship that is.
Yeah, yeah.
Because not only do we get to go, I don't know, fucking line dancing. We're also running from mobsters and making sure, like, watching people getting assassinated and picking out fucking people in our lives that have been replaced with doubles for with plastic surgery for no reason we can really pin down because we don't ask a lot of follow-up questions. How could you get mad at somebody who went to that Star Wars hotel,
right,
and believed it?
Right.
You can't.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you'd probably be jealous because they're having more fun than you.
They're getting more out of it than you are, yeah.
They actually think that they're
fucking
the
Han
fuck you
Solo
do down
or some
there.
shit. Yeah. From the Resistance.
So that's the story.
Well, I'm glad there were no heads or limbs being cut off.
Nope.
Or pulled off.
I mean,
or
maybe
bodies found.
Were fake ones. Like, maybe they thought, you know what I mean? Like, their imaginary evidence and stuff like that was like how the Goldberg's mother makes up those stories about, you know, what happens to kids when they do stuff. But it doesn't matter because it didn't really happen. That's why this is a happy story. Like, there
you go.
And so the only sad part that I can think of,
right,
is that if this had happened, if it had been my mother and everything had happened the exact same, she would have been like, yeah, we'll just, if they show up, we'll deal with them. We're not going anywhere. Like, she wouldn't have, like, gone all over the place. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't think my mother would have left her chair regardless.
Right? She wouldn't have been like, oh, honey, we got to go bowling. Nah, fuck that. You know, like, where Stan is going, no, they're going to get him if they stay in school. Are they really, though? Because...
Yeah, because you know there's a bus that'll get them. I don't need to do that.
So that's the story.
There you go.
That's what I got.
That was good. That was interesting.
And you didn't know where it was going. You knew there was something wrong.
Yep.
You didn't know what.
Could not place what it was.
And that's what I'm bringing to the table, folks. Unless you fucking already read the title of the episode. That's the name of the lady, and then looked it up and fucking found out what it was ahead of time. In which case, maybe maybe the episode is "Fuck you, sneaky pants," which probably won't get past Apple, but whatever. So I guess tell everybody how to find us.
You should go to allmylinks.com/strangefulthings, where you'll find links to everything for the show and for Acadia and I, you know, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff.
You know what I'll do? I'll give you the link to that long ass fucking
good idea
PDF, and you can put that on there too.
There you go.
That's good thinking. All right.
That is solid thinking.
So I guess there's only one thing left to tell everybody to do.
I would say they just need to keep on flapping.
Bye-bye.